and redo the whole thing.
Dang it.
All right, what up? Welcome to your morning drip. We're trying this again. I'm not even going to pretend like this is the first time. So, yes, I am your host, Ronan Rock. We have special guests in the building. Hwang from Kim Jong Grillin.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. So I'm going to teach you microphone techniques. Just put like a fist in front of your face and you're good. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sad thing is I learned that from Joe Rogan. We have the whole entire same setup.
He didn't invent that though.
No, he didn't invent it, but you know.
That's a good rule though.
You know, you just gotta watch your enemy.
Yeah. Dude.
It's the best. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're an asshole because you've been a fan from the beginning, or you at least watched and made fun of us from the beginning.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. It's perfect. We need the roasting. Our lovely second co-host who was supposed to be here today that told us at like, I don't know, like 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna be here tomorrow.
He's got a big day coming up though.
He does. He's doing his first shoe release with Adidas.
That is so inspirational.
His life is inspirational, but at the same time, it's annoying because it's like, how much do you have to trip and fall your way into success?
I don't know if it's intentional.
Like, yeah, I'm like, yo, all right, so you're the janitor that stood up here and became the shoe designer, but you left shoe design because you wanted to go. You didn't know this?
Whoa. Rewind a little bit. He was the janitor.
He was the janitor at Nike.
And then he
became
a shoe designer.
A shoe designer, or what is it? It's not technically a shoe designer, but it's something within that terminology.
He upgraded from being a janitor to where. Wow.
Oh, so can you look up the wet floor dunks, or I'll send it into the thing. So I'll show you his first shoe, which is hilarious because I'm guessing you can get the wet floor dunks what it's modeled after since he was a janitor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, damn, that is inspirational.
So that's why I have to say, within him doing his shoes, that it is actually his first Adidas release because he's already done a Nike release.
Dang.
You know what? We're just gonna make this our shoe news for the day.
Yeah.
Damn,
that's dope.
You do you want to be more depressed about it?
I mean, he's still young too. I mean, like,
he ain't that young.
Oh.
I love giving him shit. All right, so I put it in there if you want to bring it up on screen. The thing that's gonna make you and here I'll just put the link with it. I'm gonna make you more depressed about it because I'll show you how much they're going for on StockX.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
wait a second.
Because it's supposed to look like the wet floor sign.
Wet floor sign. Are you serious?
So this is the wet floor sign. Can you click on the actual link that was right underneath it?
He came up with this color, man.
Yeah, it gets more hilarious once you see how much those are going for.
What is it like working with Ian? Do you think he just always like brings it up? Because he clearly was just like, oh, finally I get to design my own shoe.
I think this is.
And then he's just like, here you go, guys. Here's my shoe. Remember this? Remember what the? Ian, I don't feel bad for you at all.
That's not the most that they're going for. On the top of Google, what I see that they're going for is the most at Flight Club for almost $500.
Oh my God, that's inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I tried to bribe his nephew. I was gonna try to bribe his employee or his team in there to see if I can't get a pair of the Adidas ones, because there's no way I'm waiting in line. I hate walking and I hate waiting.
Yeah.
So like I'm like.
Wait, did you say I hate walking?
Yeah, I hate walking and I hate waiting. There's a backstory to that statement.
Oh, please tell.
Okay.
Yeah, just go ahead and tell us.
All right, let me give you an Ian story, and this is a very embarrassing for me, but a very hard lesson I had to learn. Okay.
Oh God.
So I am not young, and I will not. And like when the protests were happening and everything else with the George Floyd thing, right? I'm just sitting there just doom scrolling everything. Like I closed my shop for the day because I was like, yo, Portland just needs to get some sleep tonight. You know, like this is not good. You know, like shit's on fire. You know.
Yeah.
But I was like, but I got to do something, and like this is where the walking comes in. I'm like seeing all these people like protesting and walking. I was like, I'm not doing any of that. I was like, I'm not gonna walk.
I already don't like to walk. I'm not gonna walk and get
I'm not walking
shot with tear gas.
I'm not gonna walk and like be a walking target. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And so I was doing very well because like I reopened after like the COVID thing, and like a lot of people remembered, man. Like I just gave away food to service people and stuff, and so like honestly, like our Venmo and like we were busy, you know. And so one of the things my therapist was like, "Hey man, like," and I was like, "Dude,
shout out for therapy."
Oh, dude, I love like the whole thing. I was talking to my therapist about this whole thing. I was like, "Dude, I don't even know what to think. Like, I don't know how to help. You know." And he's just like, "Well, you know, you have options. I mean, obviously, you said you hate walking. You're not going to go march, but you know, I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find other ways." And then somewhere on, I don't know if it was the news or whatever, because like people were, I don't know if Ian and Deadstock, the entity, was like having people gather here and then marching out, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude, Ian's just, I didn't really know Ian,
yeah.
Right? So I was like, all right, I Venmo'd his Deadstock. I Venmo'd his Deadstock $100. I was just like, yo, just keep going, man, you know. And it felt good at the moment, and then Ian was like, for what? And I was like, for what? I was like, damn, this dude must hate everybody. And but then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a second. When these things happen, I was just like, it could come off as one of two ways if you Venmo money to somebody out of the blue that you don't know. And I was like, that is really performative on my part. What do I do? And it really made me internalize a lot of like what was going on. I was like, so what do I do here? You know, like what do I like? What option? That option dead ended really quickly, right?
Yeah.
I felt really embarrassed, and I don't think Ian even knows this, but I was like, fuck, man, that made me think on this whole different level of how to help.
All right, I'm gonna say this to your helping.
Yeah.
So there's the thing of white guilt within trying to help, where it's like, here are my reparations. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, but here's my reparations check. I hope you make it out okay.
Right.
And then there's, hey, I want you to continue on.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you're going through. I don't know exactly what you need, but let me help you continue going on.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like, is more so what you're doing. And when I see people of color help people of color out, I feel like that's that. Whereas when you have white people, it feels like it's guilt.
Yeah, it's wild because when that happened, right? Like the first thing when everything went down, I was just like, all right, there's a few businesses that are black owned that I literally were just kept an eye on. I was just like, all right, because you know, like if you remember right, like my cart burned down. You know, like somebody burned mine down.
What?
Oh, wow, you didn't know this.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you this. My algorithm on all social media platforms does not like the people I like. It shows the people that I dislike or ignored or annoyed by, gives me all damn day, every 5 minutes. But anyone that I'm like, yo, I fuck with this person. I want to make sure this person. I gotta go through and be like, Let me look up your name.
Yeah,
All right, it's
okay,
been a
okay,
couple of
okay.
weeks. Let me like all
Okay,
the
that makes
photos.
sense.
But yeah.
Yeah, so a long time ago when I first opened in 2009, like I won food truck of the year, and then my food cart burned down mysteriously that night. So I couldn't even take advantage of like all the press I was getting, because back then like food press
Wow.
and winning awards and stuff like that was a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like now. Like now, I literally did like 7 episodes on Food Network, right? I thought I'd get super busy.
Ooh, 7 episodes.
I thought I'd get super busy. No, wrong. I do a meme roasting The Office. 3,000 hits, 3,000 likes. Busy as shit the next day.
Yeah.
It's different now, right? So, anyways, the reason why I kept it like I think Keys, Trap Kitchen, Erica's were the first 3 that come to mind. Deadstock especially. And I was like, dude, I hope there's not, because like Oregon's red as hell outside, so it's like I hope nothing happens to them like that I went through. Because like it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
I remember us being at Feast.
Yeah.
And you won.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was, and no hate to any of the white cooks, especially my homegirl that makes makes hot sauce, Sarah.
Yeah.
That's my childhood best friend's sister.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
More funny thing about him, he's now the director of Jesus and Marrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like,
All
so
right.
wait. You're directing the black late night show,
Yeah.
and then your sister is cooking hot sauce?
Yeah.
I take the influence points from this situation. You took some of my blackness and you
Yeah.
put it into the things that
And
you
you
did.
just literally plugged it away. What does that feel like? That must be awesome.
I mean,
Yeah. So I was keeping an eye on that stuff, but like I said, like Ian was the only one that like wrote me back just like, for what? And I was like, I thought you were like gathering people, and then I was like, maybe there's other ways I can support, and that really opened the door for me to like support in different ways, right? So like,
well, to let you know, the gathering people of that was me.
oh fuck, see, I didn't have your Venmo, man.
Don't worry. I was the one person that was like, not don't give me money, but I am not going to advertise for money in the protest.
Right.
Because I was in the thick of it, dude.
No, I know. I know now.
I got shot at twice.
I remember you telling me that. Oh man, that is awful.
Got shot at twice. Talked a couple of snipers off a rooftop. Just the regular
Just
stuff.
the regular stuff.
Yeah, it was great. My definitely my favorite thing that happened during the protest was I got like fed up with some of the personalities within the protest.
Right.
But
yeah.
I got asked to help, and I was like, yo, who's gonna be there? And they're like, oh, such and such and such and such. And I'm like, all right, cool. But those are the only people that are allowed to, because I was doing the sound truck. Those are the only people allowed to be on the truck. They're like, no problems. Obviously, someone that wasn't on that list showed up and got in the truck. And the best thing in the world is this person, like the cops show up. We're all trying to leave. We can't go anywhere. People are ducking behind my truck to not get shot at by the cops.
Oh my god.
With like, the bean bags and the rubber bullets and stuff.
Yeah.
So my car is just getting pelted with everything.
Oh no.
And as we're like getting away, we're finally like getting to the clear area and everything else, but the cops come up and rush. And as they rush, this dude out of nowhere is just like, looks dead in the cop's eyes, no further than from me to you. And it's just like, fuck the police.
Oh man.
And then the cop just was like,
Like,
I got time today.
I got time today.
and just ripped everything that I owned out of the back of the truck and had to like drag it for like, I don't know, like 30 feet.
That sucks.
No, that's a horrible lie. We went 3 city blocks, so however long that was. Yeah, the cops wouldn't let us stop.
Oh man, that's terrible. Yeah, that whole thing, like that whole thing during that time, like this past 2 years, owning a business and or even trying to be an entrepreneur of color, like it changed everything. Because like all of a sudden. And this is very revealing of how my life is right now, is that I get inundated all the time with like racist stuff, like not in the fact of like towards me, but more of just like I keep seeing this stuff, I keep seeing attacks, whatever. But then inside, because I recently stopped drinking and getting really high, and I don't have that crutch anymore to forget. Like all of a sudden my memory started like really coming in. Yeah. And then it really made me hyper focused on a lot of my relationships with a lot of white chefs. And a lot of white chefs now, I'm just like, I don't think we can play together anymore. and it sucks. It sucks. It sucks because like in one hand, like I want to be able to work through these certain things, but then I'm like, but if I'm always the one doing the work, if I'm always calling you out, do you know how exhausting that is? I don't think white people understand like how exhausting it is to be like, bro, dude, no, like you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I told you again, like yesterday, about the same time when you treated this person this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember that time I told you, like, not every Asian uses soy sauce? You know, like, do we have to have those?
Can you please make that on a shirt?
Dude, I had this one shirt. Okay, this is awesome. So this is like in my younger years. I had this one shirt that said MSG only kills white people. And whenever I would wear it, I wore it, and people were like, they wouldn't say anything to me. Right?
I don't think from the Asian community at large we get those kind of shirts or those kind of statements from the community.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then, but my girlfriend at the time, she wore the shirt out, and she's like, dude, I almost got in like 9 fights, dude. I can't wear this anymore.
May I ask what race she was?
I was like, oh, she was white.
Okay.
I was like, was it from like other Asians? You know, like that? But she's like, dude, everybody hates this. And I was like, all right. I was a little bit ahead of my time on that shirt.
No, I think
know.
think that would have been like the fuck the police or fuck white people, but it would have been the Asian flavor of doing that. So only
absolutely.
Asian people could wear it.
Dude, it would have been awesome. It would have been amazing.
It'd be like it'd be the same thing
In
if she wore a
Portland, I'd
shirt.
sell like 5 of them shirts.
Oh no. But we
Yeah.
got a very large Asian community out here, but it's a very diverse Asian community
Yeah,
out
yeah.
here, and people don't realize that because you don't know this about me, but just to drop a bomb on you, I grew up from a black single mother, and so like I had a lot of families that like adopted me and took me on as like one of their extra kids, and it just so happened like 90% of them were Asian.
Really?
Yeah, like
awesome.
at my mom's house where she lives right now in Milwaukee, all of her neighbors are Asian.
Yeah.
And it's like I dated this girl. I took this girl to prom. These people brought me the popcorn Christmas tin every year and everything else. But no, like I've realized a lot through that, especially within like the Filipino community, and it's always weird to me the not just the hate, but how the stereotypes are used against the Asian community, but at the same time, it's like next to white people, the most liked, however you want to fucking say
the
that.
model minority thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's always the thing, like, because I had a conversation with some homies basically being like, they're like, yo, like, why are black people treated like this, da-da-da-da-da, and I was like, well, have you ever thought about it, like, within the Asian community, why they're within certain situations more accepted by white people within stuff, like, you know, it's like, hey, we got the smart Asian kid.
Yeah.
We got the Asian athlete. We got X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But within that, I was like, you know, they have a better home base.
Yeah, I think that home base though is like, you know, the similarities between like the black community in America and Asian communities. I think the one base that they have that nobody talks about is the family. Your mom whoops ass.
Family and chicken.
Family and chicken. We do fuck chicken up.
Yo.
But black moms, Asian moms, like,
oh, the
fuck
tiger
shit
mom
up.
mentality? Yeah, it's the same thing going across.
The same thing going across. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that like you're able to like interchangeably go through, right? I think one of the craziest things that I watch from afar now is that a lot of Asian culture is being adopted by the black community, and I love it. Like, you know, we're just talking about anime and stuff and whatever, and then I started realizing, I was like, man, there's so many interchangeable things between both of our cultures and our upbringings here, that it kind of makes sense on like if you owned America, right, and you wanted to keep it a certain way, but you see all these different things mixing, but you start seeing two things mixing a little too hard, blacks and Asians. It could be dangerous. Like, you could not own this country soon. You know what I mean?
So with you saying that, it's weird to me that, like, if you go to New York or LA or any place like that, the black and Latino community are like this. It's even, you know, Afro Latinos or whatever it is. You know what I'm trying to say. But you have those mixtures. But in reality, the mixing of cultures is way more heavy between Black and Asian communities.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that's like, even hip hop, like back in the day, like, you know, we just still don't have like a ton of Americanized Asian artists in the rap game.
Right.
But the whole entire B-boy game, the whole entire dancing scene has been taken over by the Asian community. And like, and I mean that like in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Don't aim no shots at me. But it's that's always been a dope thing. Even within the like the sneaker, basketball, whatever you want to call it, culture of things, has been such a coming together between Asian and Black cultures. But it's always weird because they always try to pit us against us.
That's where I think we're not focusing enough on. Like the question isn't like, it's not like I said earlier, it's not like I've realized it's like people aren't racist. It's not like white folks are racist. It's that you're not white. And it's and the reason why I say that is because when you like outwardly, when I've said this to people and it's inflammatory as fuck, when I'm like, yo, dude, you're racist, or that's racist. People instantly like, whoa, dude, I got like all these different friends. I'm like, all right, calm down, dude.
Yeah.
What if I said it like this? I'm not white, so my credit score can't rise above 750. Like yours can go to like 850. And then they'll think about it, you know? But I think, like you said, like you're like, we should be focusing more on just like, wow, that's tight. Like, you're right. The B-boy game, this and that. Like the biggest band in the world, BTS, you know, like they started out as like a 7-piece hip hop group.
Yeah, dude, even more than that, the modern day boy band, however you want to look at it, is taken from New Edition and the Jackson 5.
Yes.
Like
yeah, absolutely.
That whole entire scheme of thing. I'm gonna put this out there, and I know I'm gonna get someone's gonna steal this idea, but I do tribute night. I do that dance party.
Oh yeah.
And I've been being like, yeah, we're gonna do a K-pop night.
Oh my God, you have to do K-pop night.
And I'm just like, I not only want to just do that in the sense of like, hey, this is going to be financially sound because this many people are going to love it. Yeah. I want to do it because I want to be the Black guy on stage playing K-pop music and them being like, that's not what that's supposed to look like.
Right.
Like that's either supposed to be like.
But you got to normalize it.
Yes.
You got to normalize that shit. Yeah.
And it's the same thing that you think. BTS was the first one within McDonald's to get their own meal package, but what did they do right after that? Or sorry, Travis Scott was, but then they went Travis Scott and then they went to BTS, and then they're gonna go back and forth between that because
Megan Thee Stallion had the Popeyes collab.
Yes, the sweetie sauce, and everything else. Like that's the thing is that our communities drive so much of what is niche to what's going to become the new consumer thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, but at the same time, like, it destroys me, and I think it's because we both come from, and correct me if I'm wrong, we come from warrior people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
we come from fighters. 100%.
And we come from, like, a tribal mentality that those rules are still a part of our fabric of who we are as communities now.
Yeah. I think also, we're also the cultures that have, both cultures are, like on a timeline way closer to that. Like we haven't had it this good ever. We've never, you know what I mean? And that's the thing that that sucks. Like I said this to somebody the other day and they were just like almost in tears. Like, and I was like, yeah, dude, like, you know, I worked real hard to get to my privilege. Like I own my house. I live in a predominantly white neighborhood on the side of a fucking mountain, you know, like, and honestly, like I worked really hard for that. And I really did. I feel I earned my privilege, you know? And people were just like, that's wildly different way of saying it. Like what? But saying that like I have a savings account, like because I think historically both of the cultures are way closer to that warrior culture of like having to eat to survive or hustle to survive or whatever, and
having a sense of honor about whatever you're doing,
and having a sense of pride in your work. It's not just like handed down. Like because if you constantly hand stuff down, you're just like, oh yeah, it's just my dad's company. I just happen to be the CEO. That's way different than this like, I was the janitor and now I got a fucking sneaker drop.
Yeah, can you get the shoe off the screen?
Like, yeah, you know, yeah, that is.
It's just daunting.
Anyway, but you know what I mean? Yeah, it's overbearing.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? Like that to me is like, what we should be focusing on. And I think with media, it's very easy to manipulate. Like, because I see a lot of Asian media, like Instagram outlets, and just like another attack. I'm like, guys, how about we do another collab? You know, like it would change my day. You know?
Is it not weird that from a white man going and massacring a group of Asian women, that all of a sudden the media turned it into black people versus Asian people?
Dude,
I'm like, am I the only one that saw that?
Well, so here's the thing, right? Like, so that particular case, there's a lot of different media outlets on it. It was like, but in America, of course, when they got the white one, but in Korea, right, when they got the quotes from the Korean women, they were just like, no, he literally said, I'm going to come in and like fuck up all these Asians. And he did. Yep. And he did that shit, you know? And like, I know this sounds weird, but I think it's kind of forward progress that they have to be this blatant to flex a racist point of view. It sucks to say that, but now it's just like, y'all ain't gonna win anywhere else. Like you are forced to do this shit.
But I feel like it's like the low hanging fruit from them. It's like the
It's
alley oop or the layup of being like, yo, how are we gonna spin this so they don't sit up here and take away our guns or do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it black people's fault. Yeah. All right, cool. Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's like you call it the low hanging fruit. I think it's the only fruit they got now.
Yeah. So within the protest stuff, coming back around this, because basically we're talking about the Asian hate.
Yeah.
And within the protest, there was so much infighting between different communities, and I would say that it's only on the left.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
really?
Horribly. It was like, hey, you ain't showing respect to the gays. You need to shut up and sit down. Oh, you're not showing respect to the Native American community. You need to shut up and sit down. Oh, you're not showing respect to women. You need to shut up and sit down. And then the final straw of it was, and it's only funny now because Dave Chappelle points out, it's like, oh, you're not showing love to the trans community. You're not sitting up here doing X, Y, and Z. You need to shut up and sit down. And now we're stuck in this point of being like, well, everyone has to shut up and sit down. Yeah. So who's allowed to talk?
Yeah, who's allowed to talk?
who's allowed to get up? And to me, at one point within the thing, I just came to realize, and it's because I did, actually, when I did this painting, Angela Davis she did Power to the People.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when we say Black Lives Matter or Asian Lives Matter or Trans Lives Matter, we make other people feel disregarded. But if we say power to the people, everything is good. No, everyone knows who we're talking about. And I started to say that, and it was the quickest moment of me realizing how people take a narrative. Because literally the next day, like social groups started saying that and taking it into a different context.
Right.
And I was like, this is nuts. But when I now think about it within the situation of Asian hate, like I think about it this way. I'm like, so all these other groups got targeted and Asians weren't amongst that during the protests.
Yeah.
Like, and now I see that they're trying to make this like, Asian people have always been persecuted. I've always seen, but it's always, it's the same lens, but in a different tint.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. That's a very poetic way of saying it.
And I'm like, yo, do you know what it must be like and I can very easily say this because I've grown up with these people, like what it's like to sit up here on any kind of service industry, like in the sense of service industry, like of being like any bodega, any cleaners, anything that's like that kind of service where people can like spit on you, but it's like if I own 100 of these, then you're gonna be like, he's a fucking genius.
Right. The George Jefferson thing.
Yes. Yeah. And so like it's just a thing that like going through those roles of owning a business, when in any kind of business you're in the service industry, that the way that people talk to you and speak to you and the messed up stuff they say to you, and you were talking about this outside earlier, so I want you to speak on this, like within the mask mandate and people getting mad at Asian people, like, you did this, but at the same time being like, hey, can you please wear a mask?
Yeah.
Please talk about that.
So like, like,
some of your posts lately.
Yeah.
P.S. Nice job getting to 10,000.
Thank you very much.
Even though you had to buy a couple of them.
I didn't buy it. I wasn't the one that bought it.
And
Someone
you
else
were the
bought
one
it.
that bought.
The best part is like the message I got, because I put out there like, who the fuck bought me 400 followers?
Yeah.
The best part is like this person revealed themselves to me through the messages. I was like, all right, first off, you eat for free for a couple weeks. Second, thank you. And he wrote, man, he was just like, no, just keep doing those fire ass posts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, plus, he's like, 400 followers isn't going to change the algorithm of where you're going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, well, that's dope. So I guess I'm big in, at least you got other agents to buy for the post, because it's all folks from India.
Mm-hmm.
So, amazing. It's actually beautiful. It's like I was going through, I was like, who are these people that are following me? And I'm like, damn, they all look good. Okay. But I think like a lot of times though, like I'm going to wheel this back, like the Asian hate thing it stings and it hurts, but I think when people see it, there's a sticker shock that's there that isn't with any other culture. So, you know, because people are just like, holy shit, dude, my fucking hairdresser's Asian. How dare they? Or like, oh my God, dude, I've been going to Kim's dry cleaning this whole time. Like, man, I should do something. You know, I'm like, yeah, well, just keep supporting businesses. Like, we're used to this.
Yeah.
Like, we've been used to this. Like, there's a photo of like when the Capitol riots happened and all those idiots stormed the Capitol building, and like it's a dope picture because it's an Asian guy with a dustpan cleaning. Right? It's a Korean guy. And like people were just like, how stoic is that? This and that, the other. I'm like, dude, you fucking morons. Like, do you understand how many times this probably happened to this guy? Do you understand like how many times like we've had to just clean up broken glass? We won't say anything.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
just do it. We'll just do it.
White
you know?
people complaining about broken glass to Asian people's got to be the most hilarious
It's a
fucking
hilarious
thing.
thing. I'm just like, dude, did we not learn anything in 1992?
It's like,
Holy shit, you know?
It's like as
Yeah.
much as you guys have stood up here and stereotyped us within like, you know, whatever jobs, kung fu movies, everything else. It's nothing but broken glass. We've been dealing with this for fucking years.
For
like, calm the
years.
fuck down.
Yeah, forever. And like, so like a friend of mine, I have a lot of like chosen family in town, and we both I grew up in Northern Virginia, like right outside of DC. So like you couldn't.
God, you and Ian.
Ian grew up in Virginia too?
Isn't it 2 up, 2 down?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Am I wrong about this, Marcy?
Yeah, I think you did 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah. VA.
Something that's funny about the 2 up, 2 down thing is that kids in Vancouver will do that, but they'll call it Vape Nation.
Oh my God. All right. So anyway, Ian, where the fuck are you, man? Jesus. Anyway, so in Virginia, growing up, like I always had like a jilted history lesson. Like, I actually I talked to somebody out here about racism and Civil War and stuff, and I was like, actually, it was about sovereignty of states, and like, wait, what? No, it was about slavery. I'm like, oh shit, I got brainwashed. Fuck. It's like, that's what they teach you out there. Like, oh, sovereignty of states, we can just set the price of cotton and this and that. I'm like, but who was picking the cotton? You know, like, that's the history that I got, right?
Yep.
But the fucked up thing is, like, my friend brought this up. He's like, dude, it really wasn't that far away. Like, somehow social media warped our time. And he's like, so, you know, like, things are progressing. We're just hyper focusing on little things. And he's like, just remember, he brought up this one kid we went to high school with who had like longevity just runs in the family, but they had like a great grandfather, and he was like a child that was born right at the end of the Civil War. And I was like, holy shit, like these motherfuckers had like Confederate money and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh damn, I guess you're right. It really wasn't that long ago.
No.
At all.
I can't remember
you know?
what comedian said it, but it's like that was just 3 people ago. Or that was just 2 people ago.
2 people ago. It's so true. And like, so with the Asian hate thing, I feel like
Not really with black people, because you know diabetes, we die young.
yeah. But yeah, the time is different. Timing is different.
That was 2 white people ago.
But it was 2 white people ago. 2 white people ago. 5 grandmas ago. 5 black grandmas ago. But again, like I think with this whole Asian hate thing, it's like I hate saying it like this, but like it has to be shown. Right? It constantly has to be shown, and the more that we see it, the more, you know, like everybody learns things differently. Everybody realizes things differently, and right now, this is what we have to keep showing to people, that things happen to us too.
But is it a thing that, like, because the Asian community is, and it's funny because we say the Asian community, but there's so many communities within that, and I kind of learned this within like my family, within the LGBT community. It's like not all of us get along.
Oh, dude, this is such a long conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, not all of us get along, so it's funny that you try to lump us into one major community, because there's even black people within the Asian community. It'd be like, yo, the Laos. The Laos might be the niggas of the Asian community.
Yeah,
depending
there's a lot
on,
of them. There's a lot of people. Like, I think it switches the more people find out where other people are from. Like, cause, come on, dude. Like 10 years ago, people were just like, "What's a Laos?" You know what I mean? And then that title was that with Filipino folks.
Yeah.
But like, I've always known this is that Asian communities historically they don't really get along. You know, like it's just how it is. Like Koreans and Japanese don't get along. You know, like it's historically been like that. Only now recently, maybe it's just in my experience. And I talk to my homies in LA about this a lot. Is this like no. We're not going to keep continuing that narrative anymore amongst us. Like we have to help each other out and bring each other up. And I have a lot of evidence that that's happening. You know, like because like other Koreans don't work with other Koreans historically. Like back in the day, it's just be like you got your dry cleaner, I got my dry cleaner.
Yeah.
Right. My family owns all these. Your family owns all those. But now, like with the newer generations, like, yeah, man, the Kims are really cool, man. Why can't the Hwangs play with the Kims? You know, like why can't we do that? And then, but then on a bigger level, especially in Portland, what I've noticed is like I felt like the only Korean for a long time, right? Like, in my industry. But then, like, you know, you have other people popping up, like Richard from Mata popped up, right? He got like one of the best food carts of the year, and it was a Vietnamese dude. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I gotta go see this guy. And then he's just like telling me about all the stuff he's going through. I was like, bro, I'm actually 5 years ahead of you on this. Let me tell you what you got to do here. You know, like
let me try to get through this.
Yeah, but let's play. Let's play together. Let's do this. You know. And then I realized like, what's cool about now is like there's no shit talking amongst other Asians in my age group or in my profession. It's always just like, how do we help each other out? Yeah. How do we amplify each other's voices? Oh, you got 22,000 followers. Yo, can you repost this for me? Yeah. You know, like shit like that. And I think that is now. That birthed and now that's being very nurtured, and even in LA, with like with my homies down there, like we talk about this all the time. It's just like, yo, like let's help each other out. Like, you ever hear that theory that there could only be like one black person on TV? Like back then, it was like Richard Pryor. Then the torch got passed. It was like
Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. Then from Eddie Murphy, I would say it went to Will Smith.
It went to Will Smith, and then from Will Smith, like split, right? Like, and there was like the Beast. I don't mean to be a dick about it, but there was the Beast Squad. There was like Eddie Griffin, and you know what I mean, like. And then all of a sudden there was more black folks on TV.
But then there was the capability of there being not black networks, but UPN and WB. All of a sudden it's like, we gonna invest in these black people,
right?
With that racist ass frog,
right. But I felt like in the chef community it was like that too with Asians. It was just like, all right, like, and I'll just go back to like, so it's David Chang. Like he did Momofuku and all that stuff. Everybody knows David Chang. He's on the show and stuff. And people are just like, oh, dude, hell yeah. Well, some of us are just like, why is it just you, bro? Like, bring us with you. You. And then like on the West Coast, it was like Roy Choi. And Roy Choi he invented that Korean taco. But what I loved about the Roy Choi thing is like he brought everybody with him. You know, like he really did try to amplify, like he amplified Koreatown. He amplified the food truck community. And then like even here, you know, like I was saying earlier, like, you know, like I wouldn't be where I'm at without Bo Kwan, who did Koi Fusion. And like I think a lot of people were just like, hell yeah, Korean tacos, you know? What's next? I'm like, I'm next. You're gonna get a short rib from me. You're gonna eat more rice. Yeah. I'm a guy that sells rice. Yeah. You're gonna eat more rice. And then now it's like I'm hoping I'm stoked to see like more Asian like things happen, and I always make myself available. I'm always like, reach out to me. Like we may have never met in person, but you can ask around. I'll just be like, hey, congratulations on this. You know, my name's Han. Like, let's say, and a lot of times, dude, it's like, oh my god, Kim Jong Grillin. I'm like, no. That's a weird thing. Like, but if you ever need help, you know, like reach out to me. Like, let's talk. You know. Yeah. Because I want to try to build this community.
Dude,
you know.
It's a hard thing because I recently realized after the protest, I was like, yo, like I want to do better for our DJ/music scene. Yeah. But it's kind of the same boat where it's like, hey, there's only so many black DJs allowed or black performers allowed within the city. you have to fit
God.
certain niches and
It's gotta be
stereotypes.
so infuriating for you.
Well, this is the thing I came up
Yeah.
with, and I was like, yo, the reason why I want to get the black DJs and communities together is because the colonizing owners.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because any way you look at it, like even right now within the food game, like if you don't go from like cart to shop,
Yeah.
you have to have X amount of colonizing owners to sit up here and
Yeah. support
you for you to do stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you become a part of these monopoly restaurant groups, and
Yeah.
then you gotta. You see
Yeah.
certain people becoming Harvey Weinstein, and you can't say nothing.
No, not me.
Yeah.
No, not me.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't care. Because I don't give a fuck.
You know
'Cause
when I
never
knew
have.
I truly liked you, besides us sitting in Gigi's house eating
Yeah.
eating crab, watching him destroy Top Chef.
Yeah.
Was when you had that Megatron.
Oh, that Megatron T-shirt.
Shirt. Yeah, I still have that shirt. I still
that's
wear
tight.
it quite often.
Good. Good.
But like, I was just like, oh, this dude ain't like the rest of them.
No.
He's built different,
Yeah.
and it's not even the different of being like, you're not shy.
No.
Not only do you have tattoos out the wazoo, you sit up here and proudly have your fronts in.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Thank you for calling them fronts.
yes.
So sick of being like, oh, you got a grill, Jong Grillin. I'm like, listen, like it's jewelry, man, and call it right. They're fronts.
Yeah. And so like it's the thing for me that like I've had like within being adopted by so many Asian families in my life, and so many different ones, like Filipino, Japanese, everything, that I feel more comfortable in those settings, and I get those groups to a certain extent, even more than maybe my own. That at the end of the day, like when I saw you, and I was just like, this motherfucker's built different. He just isn't.
Thank you.
he especially like even within the chef world and in the chef game, like it's definitely becoming like cooler and more niche within certain people owning food carts to get into certain positions. But like you're before all that,
Yeah.
and even before all that, you didn't carry yourself the way that everyone else did. You weren't being like, all right, I got to get into PG Park. I got to like, and shout out to Bo for getting to PG Park.
No, totally.
But like,
I think it's funny you mentioned that because like I don't really talk about this that much, but like I think one of the biggest things I learned is like I did try to expand, right? Like I got into Pine Street Market, and then like we took over 21, like BJ's Concept or whatever, and like here's the thing that I realized about myself. It was a very valuable lesson. One was like, all right, I don't play well with others. Okay, like I don't like asking people for money. I also don't like being owed money, and I'm doing all the work, and I don't get the money that I deserve. Right? And then something happened in that whole situation where I felt guilty for making decisions in my own company. And I was really, and this was the smartest thing I ever did, was like, because Earl approached me and was just like, yo, like, let's bring Jong Grillin to Pine Street. And I was like, but that's all I have. And if it doesn't do well, then you're going to take it from me. I always think that way. Maybe that's not true. It's probably not true. Earl and I are mad cool. But I was like, we should make it something else. Let's make it kind of like this, but let's make it something else. So just in case, like, the worst happens, like, I
still have my baby.
I still have my baby.
Yeah.
I still have my food cart.
Yeah.
So, and the worst did happen. And then, I got accused of stealing when really it was just I was paying myself for months of like food that went out that I never got paid for, because I was doing all the prep, because I had to make sure everything was there. And like, when it comes to like dropping names or talking shit, I don't give a fuck. Because of two things. I've seen my bottom. I've had Jong Grillin burned down to the ground, taken away from me, tried to open a restaurant. I lost everything. I was the most depressed I've ever been. You're a father.
Yeah.
At one point in time when I didn't have Jong Grillin, I remember like looking at my daughter, and I was thinking about how I grew up. I grew up without a dad, and I was just like, Art, is your future going to look a little bit better if I wasn't here? Because I'm kind of a sad sack of shit right now.
Yeah.
And then I've seen my bottom, and instead of being like, oh my God, I'll never go back there, I flipped the mentality. It just took a lot of work for me to just be like, oh, I've seen my bottom. I'm still breathing and walking. I'll come back. And I weaponized that,
I think that for every, you remember the MTV series Dear Diary?
I've heard of it. I never.
All
really
right, so it was
looked
just
at
basically a documentary series about different famous people.
Okay.
And the reason why I bring it up is because all those people, it goes through the worst point right before you break.
Oh man.
And it was just like, it's like Missy Elliott, like, or I'm trying to think of a good example. It was like Lil Wayne. You just got you shot yourself. You did X, Y, and Z. You went to jail. You lost all this. You came back and you tried to start over again, and that was the time it hit. You went through 4 different like major life, maybe this isn't for you moments for you to break. And it's like, same thing with Michael Jordan. It's like you got passed up by the Blazers to end up on the Bulls. And at the time you could have been like,
damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like at the time you could have been like, yo,
fuck it. Right?
I'm not really, maybe I'm not cut from the same cloth as the greats. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. But every time I get to one of those points now in my life, I'm like, this is from my interview of Dear Diary. This is the low point that I get to talk about and be like, yeah, they tried to beat me down, but guess what? They couldn't do it.
Yeah, and like, it's funny, like you mentioned, like I don't know, man. Like I like right now, I never like like the restaurant industry is kind of to me, in my eyes, it's a little broken. Like we're in this like weird rebuilding phase. Like I was actually talking to Gigi the other day. I was trying to like, I love talking to him because I get really good advice from him, but I don't think he realizes he's giving me good advice because he's Gigi.
Is he quiet when he talks to you too?
No.
He always laughs like the Cheshire Cat or something to me when he's singing out. He's like,
oh yeah, no, I think that's just his laugh. I think that's just who he is. Because I think like deep down inside, like he's like he's a good person. You know what I mean? Like, in precarious situations happen because of fame. Like so you can't say certain things.
Yeah.
Then there's me. I'm just like, I just really don't care. I really don't. Like if a white chef doesn't like me, I'm just like, well then let's talk about it. Where are you going? Like, okay, so that's it.
That's a funny thing you mentioned that. I've dealt with so many situations where I've come out to be like, hey, this is either racist or this is you're deliberately taking advantage of me because you realize I'm black and you realize my options are limited. Right. So like, let's talk about this. And every time I've had one of those moments of like, let's talk about this and put this in perspective, it's a thing that every single time, and I do mean every single time, it's I'm like, yeah, I don't have to talk about this with you.
Yeah.
It's that I'm so above you and this. You know how easy it is for me to pick another black person or another whatever to come here and be this.
Yeah.
And that's what I gotta say. And I respect the food hustle because as famous as whatever the group or the owner is of something, at the end of the day, they can be 5% of the personality of a business.
Oh yeah.
It's always going to be the chef. And just kind of like in the comedy industry, chefs now, like at least within this city, it's seeming like more so, have each other's back. It's like, yo, this person's doing this over there. Like, cause it's like, you're not going to eat 5 days a week at my thing. And if you did eat 5 days a week at my thing,
you might die.
You know, and it just turns into a thing that I love the fact that it's like, yo, go check this person out. Oh, I'm going to take a picture with me at this person's restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to sit up here and do a collab on something for a week long or whatever else. And then when someone like shuts down the game and like finally realizes it, and because this is the thing I love once again about the food industry, it's like, hey, I'm no longer going to just make the meal. I'm going to bottle the sauce and sell it to you so you can make it at home. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to sell you chili peppers, dog.
Yeah.
You don't even, and and that's what Ian did.
Yeah.
That's what Nong did. Like there's so many people within the game that's like got to that point, and I'm just like, oh, that's better than a Jordan.
Yeah.
That's
better. No, it's true. It's expanding into different markets, and like I think the restaurant industry, like I said, like I was telling you earlier, you know, like there's some problematic chefs, and I was just like, bro, I can't fuck with you, you know, and they're like, why? I'm like, bye, you know, like later.
All right.
You know?
I'm gonna be an asshole, and I'm gonna be very honest with you about
Yeah.
something. And this is a hard thing. And Marcy, if you can just pop in and tell me if I'm being honest about this when I say this, because you at least heard it 3 times. So everyone says Portland is a foodie city. And they're always just like, you know, blah, blah, blah about the food culture and everything else. And I'm like, yo, Portland has good food.
Oh yeah.
But Portland isn't like a port of food. Like, you know, there's certain segments of type of food, like why I think you do so good within what you're doing. There's not that many of that thing out here. You can get Thai food out the ass out here.
Oh yeah.
But you be like, hey, I want some Chinese delivery.
Yeah. No.
No.
Well, go ahead. You tell me. Where do you get your Chinese food from?
Oh, I mean, right across the street, to be honest.
What's it called?
Yeah,
See,
be honest.
We're not a food city.
I call it the duck shop.
Yeah.
Because they just have the ducks in the window. But really my probably my all-time favorite would be Frank's Noodle House.
Frank's Noodle House. Okay.
I like that place. But I'm more of a dim sum dude. So if I'm going to do something, I want to go to HK Cafe.
Right.
And if I'm going to like order takeout type like that, I'm going to order it from there. Because I'm like, I want a crap ton of shumai.
Yeah.
I want some shrimp fried rice. I want some hao dong, and then that's it.
Yeah. You just named the places that are it. That's the thing. You're right. I laughed a little when you said this. We are not a food city.
Where do you go get barbecue at? Because that's always my question within any Portlander saying, like, I'm like, if you had to in Portland proper, get barbecue. And it can be whatever kind of type you deem barbecue. But if it doesn't come with a moist towelette, I don't really call it barbecue.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, honestly, like I do like Roadrunner barbecue up on Foster. Okay. And then I liked Holy Trinity.
Is Foster Portland proper? I mean, it is.
It is.
But
it's not all the way to 82nd, though. Like, I find 82nd is the cutoff of Portland.
All right, so I take 39th as being the cutoff of Portland.
That's.
I'm like, if I have to leave the city and go to Portland suburbs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to get like proper barbecue. I don't know. That's the thing. That's when people say like Portland's such a food destination. I'm like, no, there's just like 9 of us that are making good food.
But it's world class good food.
No, of course, 100%. It is nothing. It's not a knock on the food in Portland. It's a knock on the size of Portland.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Like, so like, okay, so like if somebody ripped off somebody else's idea, like somebody ripped off my idea, right? Across this, like they just popped up across the street.
Yeah.
I ran them out. In any other city, like in LA, they just be like, oh, well, we'll just go to
3
Silver
more
Lake.
blocks down.
Yeah, we'll just go to Silver Lake, or like, oh, we'll go to Oxnard. Portland is a very limited space.
But it even extends past Portland, because if you did something in Portland and then tried to do that same thing in Beaverton, you might get some calls and stuff because you messing up someone's home route.
Because I'm fucking up some and that's the thing, is Portland is so small and that's why that happens. You know what I mean? Because like, think about it, like Thai restaurants are everywhere, right?
Everywhere. I think we have more strip clubs and Thai restaurants than any other city in the world.
But just like strip clubs, there's only like 4 owners of all of them. Same thing with Thai food, man. There's only like, well, let's do the ratio. Let's just say there's like 100 places to eat Thai food. I'd say there's probably like 30 owners.
Jesus.
You see what I mean? You see, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that is a different hustle altogether. Is like, you know, like pho shops. You know what I mean? People are just like, oh, dude, I go here. Well, I go here. This is the best soup ever. Motherfucker, it's all the same family. You know, like
when ramen started to become like a big thing out here, and everyone started to pop up, and Norniku's was like, I want to say Norniku's was one of the first ones that was like solely doing ramen within their thing, not in combination. And then all of a sudden it felt like everybody started to pop up and started to do ramen. Yeah. And I was like, I get it to a certain extent. Like, people feel like they're creating or they're riding the new wave instead of creating their own niche. Yeah. And I'm always a dude, create your own niche. Don't ride the wave because the wave will come and get you eventually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cream rises to the top. But the thing that happened within that situation, I was like, yo, so like everybody's making ramen. Even for Asian dishes, there's so many other things, even in individual cultures that you can be a specialty of. Why are you letting this be it?
Yeah, somebody
be the king of shrimp.
Be the king of shrimp. I had this thing. I was talking to somebody about ramen, and they're like, "Yeah, like, what's your favorite ramen spot?" And the first thing popped in my head is like, "Actually, I'm an instant ramen guy." You know. But anyways, I was talking to somebody from my team, and they were just like, she straight up told me, she's like, "You know what? I don't like ramen." Like it was like, and this is like when ramen is at the height. She was just like, "Ramen's too delicate. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and like slurp the broth and the noodles and try to figure out what I like." She's like, "I like pho. It is dirty. It is like I can make it as whatever I want the second that bowl hits. There's probably a thumb in that bowl somewhere that somebody put their thumb in there so they can get it to my table. With ramen, I have to use 2 hands to pick up the bowl, and it's all delicate." She's like, "Fuck that. Pho." And I was like, "You know what? I'm on your team. I'm on your team."
I
love pho so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
If I was ever to be a black guy that opened up a pho shop, it would have to be called Fuck You.
There is a fuck you.
There is?
Yeah.
Is it in Portland?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not a pho. Yeah, it's in Beaverton, actually. It's in Beaverton. I think there's a place called Pho Q.
Yes, that's how I meant it.
But there's another spot called Pho Kim. And it's my favorite spot, and I can't wait for them to open. They're up on 82nd. It's actually not that far from HK Cafe. Pho Kim. But this goes back to what I'm saying, right? So like I went there and I was like, dude, this is amazing. They had this like roasted chicken one with the chicken bones in it and shit. And like my daughter and I would go there and just hit that spot. I'm like, why is this so good? And then I talked to somebody there, and they're like, yeah, like we also have Pho Hung. And then we also used to own the Pho Hung on 82nd when we sold that one and told this. And I was like, how many of these joints does your family own? They're like, a lot of them. I'm like, oh my God, like shit, like I've been lied to, or like,
yes, you've definitely been lied to.
Yeah, I was just like, but that's how they had, like, that's how like a lot of Asian businesses roll, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's why there's like there's this saying like with Korean barbecue restaurants where like there'd be one uncle in the family that did great barbecue, right? So the whole family puts the money in that dude, and they buy the building, you know, they buy the real estate, and then they build it out. They put like $1 million in it. Once that uncle hits that 700,000 liquid, he's like, I'm out. Who's next? And then they'll swap out the owner and maybe do a little facelift, you know, and that's how a lot of Asians, like a lot of Koreans, like built generational wealth with the restaurants.
Dude, but not only just restaurants, they did that with everything that they own. And I think that became
stores,
it became a thing of jealousy within the black community, seeing that it's like, yo, you guys are owning these things that like not only like traditionally have either fed our family within a certain way or, you know,
or got you all fucked up.
Yeah.
Like they owned all the liquor stores.
Yep. And it's a thing that it's always funny how white people would only give bank loans to Asian people in black neighborhoods.
Yeah, because they knew it was a win.
It's like,
that's so sad. You know what? That's a very, very good point. It's so sad. And I don't know, like I saw this video. They were like, and I saw this one video clip. They were just like, if there was an Asian kid born in England that has a British accent, then there has to be a white kid that was born in China with the Chinese accent.
I saw that video.
How hilarious was that, right?
Oh my gosh.
But
I've never seen this. Please pull this up.
Yeah. So basically, they found this video of this white kid who was adopted in China, and he has a Chinese accent, and they're just like, everyone's got to think he's an asshole.
Yeah, but they think he's an asshole. But this is my point. I like growing up in Northern Virginia. A lot of my mom's friends owned liquor stores, but their kids would have to work there, and they kind of lived in the neighborhood too. So like you'd have a lot of kids that would speak like super hood.
Yeah.
You know, like they'd be like all right, Lee, like what, like I went to my friend had a class with this other Korean kid that grew up in like PG County and like in advanced calculus shit. They're like, all right, like like, Paul, what's the answer to this? And be like, yeah, X would be the coefficient of Y, and like, and totally speak like he was from the hood.
Yeah.
But he just didn't know any better. And it's wild because, like, you're right, like, those bank loans would happen. Like, those bank loans would happen fast. And that's why, like, with when my mom owned a business, like, she wanted to have her own, like, she's a hairdresser, she wanted to have her own shop.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't get a fucking bank loan. Like, we'd have to loan within our own communities,
And that's the thing that is also, like, I think is a hard thing that black communities could learn from Asian communities within now, is that it's like the come up isn't the singular person.
No.
The come up, the come up is when you have the generational wealth, but when you're like, hey, these 3 people in the neighborhood from these 3 different families, this one family might work it, but these people get a piece. These people get a piece, and then when they go and buy their property and they need a look, then I give some of them, and then I get a piece. And it's all of a sudden like this whole entire community is making wealth and everything else, even though it's still segregated amongst the different families.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, like, I sometimes just sit down and I'm like, you know what, the best way to put it is, y'all actually have a Wakanda.
Kind of.
Where we are pretending and trying to make and yada yada yada, though we do actually still have the richest country, the richest continent in the world within dealing with this. And
I think to go back to what you're saying, like, I wonder what it would be, what would it take, like, I thought about this, like, what would it take for the Black and Asian community to, like, maybe it's happening, we don't know about it, like, low-key. Maybe low-key it's happening, and like, like it's like a mob movie thing, just like,
right, it is a movie thing.
Yeah, all these guys from Atlanta and all these dudes from LA just came up, like, from Koreatown, just like, all right, look, this is how we did this in LA. This is how you got to do it in Atlanta. Like, shit like that. Like that.
This is what it is. And I got it. The moment that everything got fucked up with the Asian community and the Black community is when they fucking went from making the Rush Hour movie into making Shanghai Nights.
Fuck. Damn, that is so true.
They're just like, yo.
They had Owen Wilson do it.
And they had Owen fucking Wilson come in there. We Black and Asians were together. We were working out our differences.
All 3 of them were good movies too.
But they ain't never make another Rush Hour after that.
No, they're not. Fuck. See, maybe that's it. Maybe, like, I don't know, man. It's hard.
What it really needs to be is, we need to bring the boy bands together. We need to have an Asian and Black boy band. And that's what's going to kill the game. Because then what it's going to be.
Oh my God, you're so right.
if we take that here and it blows up here, the Black community will start recognizing, like, Asian people in a different way, being like, oh, yo, why is he singing the deep parts?
Right.
I didn't think that he was going to, the dude that I'm talking about in Boyz II Men, that dude, that's an Asian dude. And then when they go to go on the the Asian tour of it.
So right. Yeah, and they're gonna be super welcome.
Yeah, because there's the only worst time Black people are treated in different countries than in, like, European type things is in Asian countries.
Oh yeah.
I went to Japan and I remember everybody being like, yo, you're gonna love it.
Right.
Like they love Americans, they love X, Y, and Z. And this is at the point where I didn't fully have dreads. I just had the little twist.
Yeah.
And they thought I was, like, Ethiopian. They thought I was, like, from Africa.
Oh shit.
And they treated me like shit.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
Like, anyone that, like, was in the
this?
know, this was like, I was like 21, so this was this was a while ago.
Yeah.
But it was definitely one of those things where it's just like, like, yo, bro,
that's not great.
And the best thing is, like, we try to go out at night. You can go to regular bars. That's simple.
Yeah.
But I'm a DJ, and I'm like, yo, I want to see what the club scene's like in Japan. And it was just like,
no,
you got to come in with 5 girls each. And we're like, wait, what do you mean? Like, 5 girls each. You need to come in with them. And then my boy, like, later on told us, because he had a friend that worked within the night industry.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was basically like, oh, they mean that you need to go buy or hire 5 girls
Yeah.
to come in with you into
Yeah.
the club. And I was just like, that's a thing.
It's a thing.
I'm like, we don't just bribe the door dude like we do in America. And he's like,
it's a thing.
no.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
He's like,
And
you're
it's-
still going to pay.
And even in that, even the business model in that, it's all insular. Like we'll give you the number to call. Yeah, that's wild. That's actually mind blowing. There should be a Black and Asian boy band. That is mind blowing. That would be it. Can
Can you imagine the dancing alone?
Oh my god. I mean, like stadiums would have to get bigger. Like they'd have to like lose some seats just to make that shit happen. I mean, like it would. Oh my god, that's like my mind's blown right now.
If B2K and BTS came together to make a
just
super group,
boom. Oh man, because there've been collaborations, and I've heard there's some like really dope Asian rappers out there, and I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe if there's an Asian rapper that could like be the bridge, and then I was like, no, but you're right. It'd have to be like a real.
It'd be R&B.
It would have to be R&B.
because what's eventually going to happen is I believe that Chris Brown is going to be like, actually, my last name isn't Brown, my last name is Kim, and then it's just going to be like, he's like, wait, he's Black and Asian this whole entire time.
Shit.
He's the Tiger Woods of the R&B game.
Oh my god.
He beat up Drake.
He beat up Drake. Oh my god.
Black and Asian takes over Black and White.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Dude, you know what, man? It might be Drake. Drake might be the one to like unify all of it.
Yo, dude, don't let Drake get with any like like Korean pop star and just destroy the whole
their life.
Well, I mean, just like they have a kid and then it's just the most powerful kid of all time. He's like
birthed the king.
He's like, he can't be stopped. He came from the strongest stock of both communities. We can't stop it.
Oh my god,
he's soft as shit, but he's hard as hell.
He's hard as hell. He's soft as shit, but he knows kung fu. Yeah, okay, that's true.
The best thing about it is he be playing celebrity basketball games, can't dunk, but just sits up here and just gets all the Steph Curry threes all in people's faces
all day, just draining them. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's fucking funny. I mean, maybe like
Black and Asians really did like just holistically. I mean, just came together. We would be the super race.
We would be.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% we would be. We'd be taking shit over. I mean, oh my god,
the work ethic and athletic ability.
Yeah, that alone. We could own the whole.
I like how I said athletic ability. I know everyone's gonna sit up here and immediately think Black people. I'm like, think about that again.
Yeah.
Think of just
Lee.
any Asian country in the Olympics period.
Yeah. We had Bruce Lee. Oh, dude, have you ever seen Japanese rugby?
That's a thing.
Yeah, like
it's intense.
It's intense because
or baseball too.
Yeah, like Japanese rugby players. I mean, they're not going to be like yoked and huge. Some of them maybe, but they're tactically, they're just like surgical. Yeah, dude, I would be fucking psyched. How do we invest in this? How do we harness this, dude? Like, dude,
well, basically, we have to do what they did in the Philippines. We got to sit up here and take over a small country and just inject all
of it in.
one thing. So basically, that's what they're doing in Africa right now, where all like the Chinese banks and stuff are like buying all the property. They're just gonna make a supercontinent.
Dude, that'd be fucked up.
That'd be
so fire. Be insane. That would be insane. Because like I brought this up earlier. It's like there is something called racism and otherism that keeps us separate. And that sucks. And I hate. And this goes back to the Asian hate thing. Is like I wish like I would love it if we just stopped focusing on that, but like focusing on like why, like who's making this? Who's pushing us together to cause the violence? You know what I mean? Like that's the real question. Like, like because I think for like I don't know. Like I know a guy in New York, big investment guy. He actually got attacked. He got sucker punched from behind from a black dude. Damn. What the black dude didn't know is like he owns all the Taekwondo schools in Portland. Yeah, it was not great. Like I think he had to call 911 for the guy that punched him. Yeah.
Secondly, why is anyone like Asian people aside from black people is probably the number one people I would not want to randomly attack on the street?
No, because of that. It's that model minority stereotype. They think we're not going to say anything. They think we're not going to call the cops because we're here illegally, or like they think. I use this a lot. There's two separate Asian categories across all the Asians. There's the math Asians, and then there's there's the other ones that just deal in like really fucked up shit.
Can I say the horrible stereotype with this? It's and this is what I was told. You're either jungle Asian or you're white Asian.
Yeah, 100%. That is actually very fucking accurate. There's never been the merger of the two because both parties won't let it mix.
Yo,
yeah, 100%. Damn, Kevin knows all of it.
Dude, I'm telling you,
That's
I was
awesome.
raised by Asian families. I know
awesome.
way too much about this shit.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
This is my best Asian family story ever. It's the best. So, all right. So basically, was adopted by this Asian family. They're Filipino, and they invited me over to the Christmas party. And I don't know if you know this, but Filipinos love to do karaoke.
Oh yeah,
like way too fucking much. Yeah. So we went over to this party. They set up here and brought out the full pig with the apple in the mouth and everything, and then had the lumpia and all that different stuff. And they start doing karaoke, and I'm just like, oh word, this is great. And like some of the older kids within the family would do the traditional songs or traditional like Asian songs, and then some of them would do American songs, but it was mostly Asian songs for that point. And they're like, I'm the black dude. I'm the odd man out in this situation. Black people love R&B, so they were just like, yo, come on, come sing a song.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking on the list, and I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know any of these. And it's definitely like, and this was probably like, probably 2007, 2008.
Okay.
So all the songs, even at that point, were at least like 10 to 15 years old on the sheet.
Right.
Like nothing modern day whatsoever at that point. And I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, I don't know any of this. And then I see that they have Marvin Gaye, and I'm like, oh, thank God, I know Marvin Gaye because of my mom. And so, all right, word. They only have one Marvin Gaye song.
Right.
And it's Sexual Healing.
Oh my God.
And so I punch in Sexual Healing, and I go to start singing it. And I think that everyone's sitting up here just going off, like just being like, good job, you're doing great. Like slapping me on the back and stuff. And then I finally like look down at like basically my cousin. And I look at my cousin and just like, I'm like, like I'm killing it. And he's like, shut the fuck up. What the fuck are you doing? And I'm getting the slaps on the back from basically my mom. And she's just like, shut up and sit the fuck down. Why are you singing this song? And everyone's like, I'm like, oh shit. And I just stop, but you don't stop in karaoke.
No, you gotta
So
finish.
the song just keeps going, and I'm just like trying to like pretend like I'm eating something, trying to do anything to get out of the situation. Worst thing ever.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. It wasn't. There's a style of like crooner in Japan, right? It's
What's a crooner?
A crooner, like it's fuck. Why am I blanking out on this? Kind of like a male. The singer, just he's like a singer.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like I think Elvis would be considered like a crooner, like a crooner.
Oh, okay, got you. All right. First when you said that, I automatically thought food.
Right. No. I know it sounds like a food. But there's a dude in Japan who was raised by his grandmother. He's black, but he's like sings the most traditional Japanese songs. Like pulls the mic out of the fucking shit and like gets it, and it's amazing. Fucking wish I could remember his name, but it's happening. I'm telling you, like we're getting a lot closer. I think it's huge.
I think what's gonna happen is that there is a point that instead of Ruben Stutter, we would have got an Asian person, and that just would have like ruined it for everybody. It's like, oh shit, why do all these women look like Mariah Carey with black hair?
An army of Mariah Careys, they're all.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like ethnically ambiguous. It's like you're just light enough, but you're just dark enough. What are you?
You love Gucci, but what the fuck is going on here?
So this has been the worst interview ever because we haven't really talked about any of the stuff about you. We've only just talked about random greatness.
No. We talked everything about me.
But all right. First off, how many spots are you at right now?
I have one Jong Grillin and one. I'm half owner of the sandwich shop, DeMarco's Sandwiches. Okay. Which is right next to each other on 46 and Southeast Division.
How sad are you that you guys lost the space right over here, the Pine Pine Street?
Oh man, you don't know. I actually walked away from that from a long time ago. I walked away from that pre-COVID.
Motherfucker, they still had your signs up.
I walked away from it pre-COVID.
I
walked away from it like 2 years pre-COVID. It was actually a whole thing. You know what? It's been long enough. I'll tell the story.
Okay.
So we had Pine Street, and like I told you earlier, like we tagged it Kim Jong Smokehouse. Right? It was a merger between BJ Smith and I.
Yeah.
And then we had like 21, and then I had my 2 other carts. I had a cart at 12th and Hawthorne. Fuck that place too. And then I had my division cart, right? And like, in order for me to keep consistency across all 4 places, I had to find a commissary kitchen to do all the prep. Damn. So I did all the. And I mean, it was a lot of fucking work, dude. It was so much work.
I mean, if you subtract 4 from that, you still
I'm still really close. So, anyways, there's a lot of work, and like one of the partners, Earl, who has, I think he's the best restaurateur in town, and he's a Thai guy. Like he has so many restaurants, and he kills all of them.
Yeah,
he's awesome. But I never see him because he's so awesome. He's got 12 fucking restaurants, So 21 happened, and so I'm just sending out prep and invoicing each place, essentially. And then what ended up happening was one place wasn't giving me my checks, and one place was 21. Once that one place was 21, I was just like, well, fuck, I got to borrow from the other one to fucking make sure this one stays open. Okay?
I can't. Yeah, keep going.
So when that happened, right, all of a sudden it was just like, they're just like, yo, you're putting all your, like, that prep better not be going to here and there and the other. And I was like, well, that prep has to fucking go from here to there to the other because this one's not fucking paying me. Yeah. So eventually what ended up happening was my actual place's Kim Jong Grillin was technically paying for 21 to stay alive. Okay. Now, at this point, we'd have like monthly meetings and stuff. Maybe Earl will show up, maybe he wouldn't, this and that, the other. But I think he only got one side of the story. Maybe he got the whole story. I don't care. Yeah. So what ended up happening was I go to Earl and I'm just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. And I can't work like this. Because like both the other owners, like even the other owner of 21 was never there. Yeah. And when he was there, it was only like an oh shit situation. Somebody didn't show up and you begrudgingly would have to be there. Yeah. Okay. But I was there every fucking morning. I was there like handling damage control and everything. So I got to this point where like, and this is the beginning of the end of my fucking sanity, which was like, I live like half an hour away. I fucking drive home. I come home and my daughter, and I'm talking to my partner, and my daughter comes into the kitchen. She's just like, "Hey mom, hey hon," and then just like grabs the shit and like walk like I'm a fucking roommate. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm never seeing my kid. And I was like, you know what, this sucks. And then there's this whole controversy of like, yo, are you fucking stealing money from Pine Street to pay for whatever, paying for your carts? And I was like, no, it's fucking 21, asshole. So then so there's a gaslighting situation that happened there, and then all of a sudden it became this big thing, like you're stealing your profit shares, like until you pay it back. This and like, so I got to pay it back out of my shares. Then I'm walking, I'm out. Right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's how it is? Yeah. All right, I'm out. I wish I could say it like that at the time, but at the time, the way gaslighting works is that like you feel fucking horrible, you feel guilty.
They make you feel like you're crazy.
You feel like you're fucking going insane. Yeah. And I felt that, right? And then
you get to the point of questioning yourself because you're like, there's no other way.
There's no other way. There's no other options that your brain can do this. And then like it got to the point where like I was like losing my memory. I was so stressed out, right? Yeah. So then I go to like. So then I call Earl. I'm like, hey man, we gotta sit down, and it's just me and him. And I'm like, hey, I'm out. Yeah. Like, here's a proposal. If you just change the name from Kim Jong Smokehouse, was call it KJS, right? And then I can still keep Kim Jong Grillin. Yeah. Right. And then that's it. Separate church and state. Yeah. He was totally cool with it. He was totally just like, you know what? That's actually a good idea. Okay. The other partner pushed back this meeting for like 3 weeks because he had to go to LA Food and Wine or whatever, or Denver or whatever. And honestly, like if you have to pay to go to these food festivals, like then you weren't invited. Yeah. And they don't take care of your flight or your hotel. Yeah. Bro, you went as a guest. You know what I mean? Like you ain't shit. Because I've been invited to those things. Yeah. And the gift baskets are dope. I mean, you get AirPods and shit. It's awesome. That's not what this dude was doing. So
hold on one second. Hey, we're gonna throw up the still. We're gonna take a quick commercial break because I'm about to piss my pants.
Yeah.
All right,
go,
we're back.
Go. Yeah.
3 hours later.
And we're back.
Yeah, man. I just watched somebody like with the that's cleaning the streets. And I just saw one of those yellow signs. Going right side. I can't unsee it. I can't fucking unsee it, man. But yeah, so like what ended up happening was the meeting kept getting pushed back on like how I'm gonna exit.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, yo, just don't change the name. And what would have happened is 21 would have had to like rebrand everything. It would just cost too much money.
Yeah.
And I asked for a certain amount of money to leave.
Yes.
Or whatever. And finally the meeting happens. We all sit down and this is my version of it. I'm sure it's different and whatever. My version of it was when I sat down, it was like, well, we already registered the name Kim Jong Smokehouse and the logo, and you know, like, you're not going to get anything from this. And I was like, oh, okay. Give me 1 second. And I called my lawyer, and I was like, yeah, they totally tried to register the name. Like, they tried to register the LLC. Like, they're fucking stupid. And he's like, they know you're fucking trademarked, right? And I was like, I don't think they know that I'm trademarked.
Mm-hmm.
So I come back, I'm like, hey, you guys know I'm trademarked, right? Like, I own the words Kim Jong in the realm of this
food and everything else.
And everything else.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I also own that cat logo. I have the receipt that I paid for it.
Yeah.
So then the conversation had to switch from like a licensing thing.
Hold on. Why do people do this? Why is this ever a thing where it's like?
So I think this person thought, well, I don't give a fuck. I think BJ thought that it was gonna be like his retirement fund. You know, like you can probably, because it was easy. It is easy once you get it down. It's easy, and you can, like, if I wanted to, I could pop up any of these anywhere. You know, and just get it done. You know, like, and that is the valuable part that I learned from the Pine Street thing. So I left, you know, and I left, and I was I'm not gonna lie, man, I was broken. I was overweight. My brain was sizzled. My family life sucked. I think I need to repair my cars because I was driving so much. You know, like, it was, again, another bad spot. But I'd come back and I just look at my food truck and be like, damn, I still got you, baby. Like, let's get Han fixed. And so, and it took me years, man. It took me years to like fix all that mental shit that happened to me. And that's where, like, I started going to therapy. And it was like, and I didn't realize this. So, like, when I first saw my therapist, I was like, all right, you know, we'd have our session, you know, and be like, all right, cool. He's like, so we'll see you, like, what day you got next week? What day you got next week? And then it's like, hey, you know, I'm busy next week. Like, I'll see you in 2 weeks. You want to do how about 2 weeks? To now where I see him once a month. Yeah. I didn't realize, like, that's a really great progression. Yeah. You don't have to see him every week. And, like, so I'm a big advocate for mental health. Yeah. And what I think, like I said, like, I don't care what anybody's version of that story is. Like, I didn't fucking steal shit, and if I did, I wouldn't have just stolen just enough to fucking pay for one place to stay open. You know what I mean? You know, like, come on, like, let's just be real. And, like, honestly, like, and I don't give a fuck about, like, I don't care, like, what chefs out there like or don't like me. You know, like, at the end of the day, it's just like, well, then come punch me in the mouth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like, let's call it a spade a spade. If I don't like your food, I'm not gonna eat your place. Yeah. You know, and if you don't like what I have to say, then come talk to me about it. Yeah. That's it. That's just the realest I can possibly get. Yeah. And so whatever. And, like, so now, like, I look at it and, like, now I look at, like, the growth that has happened since I left those situations. And one of the things I realized, like I said earlier, like, I don't play well with others. I need, like, if I own something, I fucking own that. And the other thing is, like, when my life becomes unmanageable, but the bank account's really high, that's a really bad sign. I've never had it like I have it now, where I'm like, I feel privileged. I feel like I have enough money. My bills are paid on time. Yeah. And it's very manageable. I've never had this in my life until very recently. And I feel, like, blessed.
I've been in the story that you just told. I've been into two parts, and I won't really get into either of them. But to say, at one point, I was working at a bar, and it was one of these. And I won't say this person was as much of a colonizer, but they were definitely trying to. They wanted ownership, and they wanted true ownership in the sense of being like, I have multifaceted things going on.
Right.
Like if one domino falls, it doesn't take the rest of them with it.
Oh wow.
But in this case, it definitely did. So I was the profitable bar. And when I say I literally did the random weekday that was successful, and then I did the 2 weekend days that were successful.
Right.
And so it was like literally I am paying all your bills for all your places.
Right.
He always does this. I don't know if you see the episode where he just comes to the window and sits there, and it's so creepy.
It's a little creepy. It's okay.
And he's still there. I can feel it.
I know.
I can feel him looking. But basically, I'm just going to put up my hand like this until it goes away. Basically, my one place was playing for 3 other places. And I got... Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my one bar, which was... I can just be honest about it because dude's dead now. Mike Wilson, he owned Tube. And then he owned Black Book. And then he owned Reture. And then he owned Satyricon. And at one point, it was the thing that I made a shit ton of money for his bar, and I was asking for adequate pay.
Right.
Not what I deserve.
Right.
Not anything along those lines. I was asking for adequate pay. And it's a thing that's different from, I think, the DJ game than anything else. If you're a working class DJ, you don't get a raise. There's no. Yeah, there's no such thing as like that.
No. Because you what you sign on to at that rate is what that rate will be.
Yeah, because everything else inflates within the cost of it over the time. Can you shut that curtain so I don't have to see that man when he turns back around? But it turns into that's the one thing that then everything else inflates. Like security costs more, everything else costs more. The bartenders need a raise, and it's like my name's on the flyer.
Yeah, I make this popular.
Yeah. And so basically, I dealt with being that, and at the end of the day, they ended up having to sell, and it went downhill from there, and that's another story for another time. But it was. I felt the pain that you're going through of being like, not only if I mess up this one thing, everything else falls like dominoes, but no one else realizes that everybody else gets to have shittier days at their other places and still get paid.
Right.
So
and that's like, and again, it's like a testament to like to how you, like what you're doing. You're still a DJ. You're still killing it on certain nights. Like you still have your thing.
I still have my thing. I definitely. I try to be like what you were saying earlier, like how you were trying to build stuff within your community. I try to build stuff within my community. It's just a thing that my community treats our game like selling Avon.
That sucks. You got to change that.
And it's a thing that I've definitely tried to. I've definitely tried to talk to individuals about him. Like, like this is how we can play the game. Like, you have to deal with these bar owners and everything else. Like, here's how we can change it. Let's just rent out venues and just do events there. Yeah. And then you don't have to deal with these people. And they're like, yeah, but I don't have the money for that. And I was like, yo, I'll front the money. Like, I'll front the money. Even and give me the most realistic. Like, give me a manager's percentage back. Give me 10% back on my investment, which is shit.
Yeah,
like,
that ain't shit. Yeah,
give me 10% back on my investment, and I'll sit up here and like not only help you do these events, but I will sit up here and front the cash for it. And still, people were just like,
"Oh, that sounds like an education thing. You gotta like." You got to really you have to take the time to draw it on a whiteboard.
I've tried to. It's like leading a horse to water. Yeah. I'm just like, yo, how many ways can I show and prove that this formula works, and for you not to be dumb about it.
Yeah, it's not easy to be the pioneer of a new way of like doing a business, because I've never even heard of doing it. That's fucking smart. I'm not gonna lie, that's a really smart way of doing it. Because fuck, dude, like what, like. I like, because I used to book DJs for different bars and stuff, and I don't know if you remember like the Fix. You remember the Fix? You don't.
Are you kidding me right now?
Oh fuck, you do remember the Fix. Okay.
Hey, Marcy, do you wanna explain to this man? Explain what? I was the host of the Fix.
Do you remember when the Fix was in Southeast?
When it was at Nightlight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work there. Okay.
I wasn't there. I was only at the someday.
Right.
Okay.
I worked at the one. I worked there, and like I remember when they started at Nightlight, and it just got too big. I loved it because I was just a line cook, high as fucking guy, just snort and blow all night, just like fuck yeah, this money ain't ever gonna stop, you know? Because I'm fucking whatever working. But I remember like looking at that whole thing, the fix thing, and I was like, damn, this is tight. It's 3 DJs all the time, and these motherfuckers cannot get enough of it. Like harnessing that, like that was like I was like, damn, like people say Portland's a white city, but. Damn.
Yep.
No, dude, you guys definitely did that for the culture. I do remember you were at Someday for the Fix.
Yes, I was at Someday for the Fix.
Yeah.
I wasn't at the Nightlife for the Fix. In fact, I didn't even know about its existence until it moved over to the Sunday, because I was literally 21 when I joined it.
So because like when that happened, because like when that was at the Nightlight, I was like, because I think Connie was involved when it did and stuff like that, and then like Rep Shines was there and everything, and I just remember just being like, wow, dude, this is like so rad, man, because like Portland, it really isn't that white, and it was really fucking cool for me to see that.
Yeah.
And then obviously in your industry you have way more unsavory DJs than good DJs. Please understand respectfully, I am giving you recognition that you are not those douchebags. But yeah, man, that industry, man, like doing it that way would be smart. I mean, I guess that would have to just come down to like educating.
It's not only educating, because I when I first started one of my events, when we started Tribute Night, and I've done Tribute Night in like at different points in my career, and when I finally like branded it and made it a thing, it was because someone really tried to steal it.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. And so like you know what, you said a story that you were reluctant to tell. I think it's only fair that I'll very quickly tell this one. So basically, the first tribute night we ever did, we did like an 80s versus 90s tribute, which isn't the most original thing in the world, but we were like, hey, we're primarily... We ended up doing it at the Someday. And I even remember the poster was the dude from Do the Right Thing that gets his shoe smudged. He's like, ah! But anyways, that was the first one. The next one we did, we ended up doing the first version of Wayne versus Jay-Z. So Lil Wayne versus Jay-Z, and it was a huge success. It was like more of a success than I thought it was ever going to be. And it was literally a joke between me and my DJ partner, Doc Adam. Like, I guarantee you I could play Lil Wayne all night and no one bat a fucking eye. And he's like, yo, but you can't just do Lil Wayne all night. Right. Like, and then mixed in Jay-Z, I took Lil Wayne, even though I was like, in my heart, I was like, Jay-Z would win a battle with Lil Wayne. But Lil Wayne's got more current hits.
He got way more current hits.
So I took Lil Wayne. But anyway, so I did that one. And then eventually down the line, we did another one because my homeboy's girlfriend basically was like, yo, I love Beyonce. I never hear Beyonce in the club. I'm like, Beyonce isn't club playable. And she's like, yes, it is. And I'm like, no, it isn't. And she's like, it is. I'm like, I'll prove it to you. I'm going to play 5 Beyoncés back to back. And I did it. And I was like, motherfucker, why are we playing Beyonce in the club?
Yeah, dude, seriously.
And so then eventually we ended up doing at Dig-a-Pony, we did Beyonce, Rihanna, and then we played a bunch of other girl-centered artists after that. And we did that all night, and it was super successful. And the thing that ended up happening was Holocene saw that we did this party, and they took the other white DJ that was a part of this party, and they booked them to do it.
Yeah,
they
owes me rent money.
Okay.
Yeah, she does. Not even joking.
So what ended up happening was they booked him and his DJ partner to go and play the event, and this is like the 3rd time this has happened between me and these DJs where someone would be like, Kevin is so successful at said thing. We are going to take said thing and make our own version with you two being the pilots of it. So when I played at Tube, and Tube was super successful, and the owner owned the bar next door, he's like, hey, I'm going to hire them to play on your night because we can't fit all the people into the bar, so we might as well have them next door. And I was like,
my God.
And they literally called me up and like, hey, this is what the owner just asked us to do. And I'm like, why would you ever do that?
Why would you say yes?
And they're just like, well, that's what we're calling you. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can do it, but that's fucked up. Like, why would you ever eat off of my plate? And da-da-da-da-da. And they're just like, word, we won't do it. And so this situation happened again with Holocene, and they're just like, yeah, man, they're trying to make us do this Beyonce birthday party. I'm like, yo, dudes, we already said that we are going to do this party next month at Dig-A-Pony. And they're just like, yeah, we know. So do you want to come on and play it? And I'm like, well, it looks like I have no choice.
Yeah.
And so I went and played it with them at Holocene. And eventually what ended up happening, once again, Holocene basically, I would say a night and like an idea. I'm like, hey, let's do Drake versus Kanye. That's the night that I really want to do. And they're just like, yeah, nah, we're not going to worry about that right now. We want to do another one of these parties. And I was just like, oh, all right, cool. And then a month later, they would hit me up and be like, hey, so this other group from out of town is going to come in and do a Drake versus Kanye night. They're looking for a host. Can you host the night? And so this went on in forever. And like eventually I got my own night. And the thing that ended up happening, the reason why I'm telling this story is because I convinced Holocene to give me a night. I'm like, look at what's going on.
Yeah.
Realize you're catching up to the wave as I'm riding the wave. Let's play this smart. And so
that's really big of you.
This is the thing though, and this is the honest to God truth, and I truly mean this. This is the honest to God truth. I sat down at Nong's with these two DJs, and I was just basically like, hey, we have a golden opportunity right now to continue on this party. It can be whatever we want to make it.
Yeah.
And we could tour around the country doing it.
Yeah.
And we can set this precedent with it. And they're just like, yeah, that's crazy. So like, how are we going to involve Holocene? And I was just like, what do you mean how are we going to involve Holocene? And they're like, well, this was their idea. And I was like, no, it wasn't. Don't you remember? We literally did this. Don't you remember the phone conversation and everything? And they're just like, yeah, we have other parties there and other nights. And if we do this party, it's going to jeopardize our other nights. And I'm like, yo, man, if we put our foot down, there's nothing that they can say or do to us.
Yeah.
We can go somewhere else with these same ideas. We can go to another bar with all your other concepts. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just realize that this is like
and you know what? Holocene will be fine too. Wow.
So at the end of the day, they didn't want to do it. I ended up booking the parties, and they went over like gangbusters. And as I was booking them, I still hired them to DJ some of them. But you're not my partner anymore.
Yeah.
I'm hiring you.
Now you're
And they were just like, we got done with the night, and I want to be very, very forthcoming with this. I paid them correct. Yeah. Like I paid them more than what they were getting paid for other gigs within stuff.
Right.
And what basically came up was a hint, and was just like, yo, where's the rest of my money? And I was just like, what do you mean, where's the rest of your money? And they're like, this is like I know how much money you made, like this isn't half. And I'm like,
we never negotiated half.
Fuck negotiating half.
Yeah.
You didn't do half the work.
Yeah, it wasn't even
you didn't negotiate the night with the club.
Oh my God.
You didn't make the flyer. You didn't do any other stuff. You didn't do. I literally I did everything, and I was like, you didn't do this. And they like tried to pop off an attitude with me about it. And at the very end of it, I was just like, I gave you the opportunity.
Yeah.
To join in on something.
Yeah.
And you were afraid of massa.
Yeah.
You were afraid that you were gonna get whipped.
Yeah. No, 100%. That is exactly it. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll take it if that's what it has to be free.
Yeah.
And since that day, I've continued to have those kind of problems with white DJs. Where it's a thing.
That's an ultra privileged flex right there.
That's like no matter what I do, it's my brand, it's my thing, it's my creation. I'm inviting you on, and it's like, where's my half? And I'm like, that's not how this works.
But
like
that's wild. There's no. I mean, like, what's wild to me is how ignorant people get when it comes to like agreements and stuff like that. That's why I like things on paper. That's why it's a complete invention, because it's set up so these things don't happen.
Yeah.
And that's that. I mean, like I'm sure you're like me, like a handshake and verbal handshake. That's it.
That's the deal.
Right. That's the deal. That sucks. That sucks that it's their game. They're the ones that invented the contracts to do these things, and they refuse to do it. A lot of times in business, people like the hardest part is to like jump, right? Just jump and do your own thing. Clearly, those guys, you don't want these guys on your team anyways. Believe me. You know, like, yeah. So
it was a heartbreaking moment.
That sounds so bad. I'm so sorry.
It was a heartbreaking moment because I imagine it being like in your sense of being, hey, I have the opportunity to not franchise this, but open multiple locations.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to do this on my own because I know how much work that's going to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you come to realize if you don't do it on your own, and that's the don't.
Yeah.
I don't play well with others either because I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, if we build something together, that's us together. We built that together. Let's go and do that. If we're doing 50-50 of the work, let's go do that. But when people are like, I don't really want to show up.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my ball home.
Yeah.
I'm, they're not invested within the thing like you are, especially being any person that's a person of color trying to do this.
Yeah.
And you do that, and then you have people look at you a different way.
Yeah.
Like, just
it's the worst.
The fact alone that I was a dude doing a Beyonce party.
Yeah.
And people trying to demasculate me.
Yeah.
Until they saw the line around the block, and then they're like, oh man, I want to do that. Same thing when we started doing, I did Slay, and we did a LGBTQ plus and POC party because I had family that was gay that my family didn't want to tell us that we're gay because they were afraid of how we react.
Right.
And then as we got older, when I went out with my friends that happened to be gay, they would be like, I don't want to go there, man. It makes me feel mad, uncomfortable to be at that place. And I'm like, but we're just going to go hang out, chill, get a drink. And it's like, but you don't get it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, I do get it because I know what it's like to go up to the hoity-snoity part of town and try to go get a drink with my friends, and I don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, is the waitress being an asshole to me on purpose? So I made Slay for that, and I made it so it's like, we can all come together to be comfortable. But in that same regard, like you have people that are like,
they just don't want to do it.
They get to that colonizer mindset.
Yeah, they get to that Columbus level.
You
know what I mean? They get to that Columbus level, like I act as if they had started it or they were there the whole time, and they just stood there, like, and that's how I felt with this whole thing too. Like, that's what I felt with like that whole thing was just, and I found out that like, man, I hope I'm not the first one to tell you this, but like, they're all like that.
Yep. So
how do you? What kind of moves do you have to make? You just have to make moves on your own, and you just have to have them follow you, and that's it.
It's always weird, especially because this is a black said thing, or a thing that white people say to black people that I feel should be in the exact reverse. He's one of the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be like that. We have to be more exclusive to that.
You're like, no, you're one of the good white people.
Yeah, and reward accordingly.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like it's like a pet thing, but I mean, how many years have we been the fucking pet?
Oh.
How many fucking years have we been the ones that like we get concepts taken from us, and then they throw you a bone? I mean, like we can go all day on this, but at the end of the day,
remember I said K-pop tribute night. I guarantee you, someone's going to be like.
We should talk about that more later, because that is a fucking brilliant idea, and I think it taps into a fucking younger market that I think people just fucking go insane for. But I don't like having to be this way. You know what I mean? I don't like having to be as exclusive as I have to
jaded.
Be. And it comes from a place of being jaded, and I try to be like really like equitable in my brain about these things, but like, but with certain things with certain things I just won't budge on. I'm just like, nah, dude. Like, you remember you fucking me over, and then I want you to wake up tomorrow and remember that again too. Like, this is why I have like a literary agency like representing me. This is why I get to do stuff on TV. Now you can't get arrested. It's because the moves that you fucking made. No one's fucking heard of you. No one fucking remembers you. And that's how it is. And that's it. Because I put in the work. You put in the fucking work,
And the thing is, you can put in the work, and this becomes that Dear Diary situation where it's like, yo, you can put in the work, but you still might fail. The thing is like, do you choose to get back up?
Yeah. Do you choose to get back up? And like I said, like the hardest part to do your own thing as an entrepreneur is to make the jump. And then there's a totally different side to it, which is like with the longevity in the game, is do you have the stomach? Do you have the stomach for it? Do you have the stomach to see the rough patches, the weird shit, the bank account that's in negative like $3,000? Do you have that?
Oh, shoot. The credit card debt and everything.
The credit card debt and everything else that you fucking put up.
You pay more interest than the actual bill is.
Yeah, and then when you come back, but then when you bounce back, you know, like there's no greater feeling. No greater feeling from bouncing back and be like, yo, dude, like, I conquered it. You know?
I've done it 6 times now.
Yeah.
Where someone's like actively, like, and I mean actively tried to take me out, and I came back. And one of the big last ones was definitely like I started touring nationally because I couldn't play in Portland anymore.
That's crazy. You toured nationally. You should be very proud of yourself on that.
But I am to a certain degree, but it's dirty.
It is dirty.
It's dirty in the sense of it's like, yo, I can't go home and play. Like even the reason why we're here in Chinatown is a fuck you to a certain individual.
Right. Nice.
I mean, I see no evil. But it was a fuck you to a certain individual because I'm like, you're not gonna chase me out.
Yeah,
and if I can't sit up here and play my music and you're trying to silence me, then I'm literally going to make my voice a presence in this community.
Yeah. See, that's awesome. That's it.
I'm just, it's awesome. I'm just a very vengeful person.
Yeah, no, I can tell. You know what? You know what's really funny? Now I can tell you were raised by Asians. Now I can tell. Now it makes all the sense in the world to me. I'm like, no, man, Kevin definitely. Kevin could be a Kevin Pham. He could be a Kevin Hwang. He could be a Kevin Kim. You know, I was like,
yo, I mean,
but you know, like I said, it's not like that it's not like you have that hate in you and you went out and did that. This is what the industry did to you.
Yeah.
And this is what the industry has done to me as well. And honestly, like when people are just like, hey man, that's his business. Like, no, hey dude, you're a fucking dick. And you turned me this way, and now like that. Now when I flex, it's gonna fucking hurt. And you know, that's how it is.
And I'm gonna say this. I want to know if you agree. In any time that you're becoming any kind of business entrepreneur type person in any regard, it's never the people you don't know that fuck you over. It's always your fucking friends. It's always
100%.
And it's a blinding thing of like. Because when you don't know somebody, you're like, I don't trust this all the way. I need all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. But when you do something with your boys, like, oh no, he's got it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They got the account code. Everything's great. Don't worry about it. He'll handle it tomorrow. Yeah. And then you find out.
And that's like, this is why like I'm a firm believer, and I'll go see a therapist the rest of my life for this. Is that like. Those little things, like I thought I would never have a business partner again, but I do have a business partner now. This is Ruben DeMarco. We named the sandwich truck after him, DeMarco's Sandwiches, because he makes awesome sandwiches. But the whole thing is with Ruben and I, we both came from a bottom that was very similar. But the one thing that I love about him, and I think I learned this from him, is like every morning I see him, he's like, "How you doing? You okay? You good about this? You feeling good about this?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, yo, dude, you asked me like 9 times, but I'm like, holy shit, dude, thank you so much for asking me 9 times. You know, like, because when the vision starts to separate, or one sees a pocket that you think that you didn't catch, and they try to fucking like fuck you over, you know what I mean? But the whole time you're like, dude, I invented this. You know, like that's when the disconnect sucks. So like with therapy and a lot of that stuff, really taught me like communication is the key to all that stuff. Yeah. You know, but like also smaller bites. You know what I mean? Smaller bites. Just like, yo, we can do this night together on 11/16. You know, like, all right. And then anything after that, you know, it's whatever. But, you know, that's something that like I've really internalized and like really learned to process. And now it's just like a regimented thing. Like even with my team, I keep saying team because I catch myself, 'cause I never want to call the people that I paid to work my dream. I never want to call them my employee like I'm above them. I'm always just like my team, and I always try to communicate with them, you know, because any of those guys can one day just like, fuck it, burn my shit down. You
Dude,
know?
always the thing that's like, out of like, even Marcy with him being a part of our team, like, it's a thing that I know that the core group, even you have one hip hop group in all of time that has stayed together. De La Soul.
De La Soul.
The only one. Like, we even know the Migos. Migos ain't going to sit up here and 10 years from now still be the Migos.
No.
It's going to be Offset, Takeoff, and Quavo.
People are probably going to be like, what do you mean they all used to rap together? You know what I mean? Because even you're right. And even at a certain point in time, they're just like, oh, isn't that a Quavo? Isn't that Quavo's song? Yeah.
I want it to be, at the end of it to be like the Mickey Mouse Club, where it's just like, oh, yo, they used to do stuff together, but this person's successful, but this person's successful, and they all have their singular identity of what they are as a person over here, separate even from the thing that they once did.
And that's fair.
But it's a thing of being like, having the vision of seeing someone's potential before it's actually realized and not stopping them from their growth. If the greatest thing that someone ever does is something that is off of your back, then you didn't do your job, and then you didn't give them enough for them to be able to find their greatness.
Yeah, and you didn't like, you know, this is like what I tell my team too. It's like, let me help me understand how to help you better, you know, and like, because I've had a few people that come through and like, you know, like they're so talented, and I'm just like, so where do you want to go from here? You know, like, you're not fired, but I want you to stay as long as you want. But give me like how can I help you like with your next thing? Yeah, you know, and I love doing that
because you know the potential. If they're able to get you and your dream to X, then what would they be able to do with their dream next? And that's why I'm like, yo, like, I'm really right now, I'm trying to be an owner more so than I already am within stuff, and I'm definitely trying to like talk to my peers and stuff. I'm like, yo, what's your retirement plan?
Because we're there. That's where we're at now. You know,
it's like if you don't have a retirement plan now, in 15 years from now, I'll be 50. Yeah, and it's like, what am I going to be, the 50-year-old DJ da. He's like, you know, I can still look real good and charming on this bike in 50 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you know, like, I think, and with my industry too, like, I think people were really quick to call themselves chef. You know, and like, I hate being called that, to be honest with you, because like, I think a big part about being a chef by definition is that you spawned other talent. Like, one of the guys that comes to mind, Vitaly Paley. Like he spawned so many people that opened their own thing that was very successful. Yep. He's also spawned some people that didn't, but like, that to me is a chef. You know, that to me is like, that's where I'm at. You know, so that's how I see it. So
no, that's nuts. So you're one of the guests that falls in this very special category.
Oh, it's it.
Where we didn't actually do the show.
Oh, no, that's cool. No, I love this.
No. So usually what happens within this stuff is that when we do the show initially, we have like the whole entire segment list or whatever else. And when we have a guest that does the interview portion, the interview portion goes all the way through that. We're just like, that was just a solid ass interview.
Awesome. Yeah.
So and not that the guests that show up that don't get to that point, it's just usually it's the thing that we're like, oh, and this perfectly segues into whatever. Yeah, totally. But I would say one, I'm forcing you to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever. This is so much fun.
Secondly, I think you need to grab something in hand to me. Oh yeah. All right.
I got this is the fundraiser shirt that I did, and you probably know legendarily
right there.
You know legendarily about this story, right? About how I got trolled.
Oh no! Please tell me this.
Okay, so see how it says terrible, and in Korean it says nappun, which means bad.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, when I reopened, I found this note, or I got a message. I got a Facebook message that said like, "Hey,
You throw right there.
You need to post your hours on your voicemail, this and that. I'm like, okay. And
why do people never know how to ask for things?
I have no idea. And then they go on this diatribe of like, okay, I understand that this is during the pandemic and times are rough, but you need to post your hours. You ruined my meal plan like twice this week already. This privileged ass motherfucker. And I was like, putting you on blast, dude. Sorry. This is it. So I did. And the fact that in the end, he wrote, I'm going to tell my friends on 46th Street, 47th Street, 48th Street. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. And everybody on Instagram latched onto the terrible, terrible, terrible thing and the meal planning thing, right? So I started doing things like fuck your meal plan, this, that. All right, fast forward a year later, the exact same day I got that message, it popped up as a memory. The electricity went out in my food cart, so I had to close that day. And I was like, how coincidental is this? So I was like, you know what? I put out there, I was like, you know what, guys? Like, I should have shirts made. And this is when I started holding my own things for hostage on Instagram. I was like, if this post gets 1,000 likes, this post gets 1,000 likes, I will commemorate this whole situation with a T-shirt. I'll pay money down to get a T-shirt made, and then all the profit sales from this T-shirt, I'm only gonna get so many made. I will donate to 2 different AAPI organizations. Right. What nobody knows is I know the identity of the person that wrote this. And this person is from the gay community. Yeah. Right. So the 2 AAPI charities I picked were specialized in LGBTQ. Just as a turn of the knife, and it's a complete, like, it was great. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'll go broke making these shirts. So I sold a lot of these shirts, but I didn't realize I had a lot left. I had a few left, but I'm not reprinting these.
I can't wait. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. You, out of the merch game within stuff, I would say, especially in restaurateurs, you killed the game.
Oh, thank you so much. That's all my designer, Ty Palmer.
Dude.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's so good. All right. So quickly, we're going to do two segments. Okay. One is grind your beans. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look into this camera, and you're going to basically, you've seen it, but for the people to know, grind your beans is basically where we throw out anything that's annoying us, ticking you off or whatever, and said time period, and you just let people know what's grinding your beans, so other people can also rant along with you. Okay.
All right. What grinds my beans these days is that literally a year ago, you guys were like, save restaurants. Oh my gosh, my favorite restaurant closed because of COVID. Only 1 year later do you guys start complaining at us about the littlest things, like wearing an outdoor mask because of the outdoor mask mandate. Or like, you're out of food. Geez, I don't know, maybe because of shipping delays, I can't get boxes to put those foods in. How are we so understanding a year ago to today? Now you guys all became entitled brats all over again. Grinds my beans.
I you know what? I should have asked you more about Yelp reviews, because I know that you have a whole thing about Yelp reviews.
I stopped reading them.
Okay. We'll talk about that next time. All right. So what's grinding my beans? I had one earlier. I guess. You know what? What grinds my beans, and we touched on this earlier. Mm-hmm. What grinds my beans is that when people are supposed to be on your team, supposed to have your back, that you put the blood, sweat, and tears, and you're like, yo, this is going to be the greatest team of all. You realize you're in New Jack City and you're working with Nino Brown. Yeah. That's the thing that drives me nuts. I'm like, yo, just be loyal. Just wait a little bit. Let us get to this point and then be like, hey, yo, I'm gonna buy you out. Buy me out. Don't stab me in the back. Buy me out. That is what grinds my beans.
Ronan is for sale, y'all. There's a price. There's a price for all this creativity.
You could take
100%.
You know, funny thing is, I had someone try to have me buy them out, And I was like, what do you mean? And they're just like, you know, just buy me out. And I'm like, but I do everything. And they're just like, no, but like, you know, like this came together as a partnership. And I was just like, you do realize I'm partner in your business too, right?
Yeah.
And they're just like,
wait, what?
no, but you left. You did. I'm like, yeah, I left.
Yeah.
Like a friend would.
Yeah. I'm out.
You want me to buy you? I was like, all right, so how much you want me to buy you out for? And they threw up the Steph Curry, like, oh, yo, you just set up here. And like, yeah, I was just like, I don't make that much money.
Yeah. Dude, what
you
the
know,
fuck
I take
do
the
you think it's
compliment that you think I have that much money.
Right. But yeah, people's value systems are all over the place, man. People don't understand. Like when people used to not understand the value of a dollar, people just don't understand value now.
Yeah.
Like at all.
And I would say my second grind your beans on that would be just how everything has to go up in price, and always it's always the minimum wage gets up to being like, and now you have a living minimum wage. And you guys actually said this earlier, where it's like, and now what was a 39-cent cheeseburger is $4.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so.
Yeah.
Your living wage isn't living, and when we have to pay the lowest person on the totem pole of a part-time thing like $25 as an incentive just to come to work,
just to show up.
I'm like, I never in my career of having a regular ass job ever got even
not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah, yeah. There's a line that Moneybag has, and one of his lines is, I'm the same person that made minimum wage, and I wake up every morning remembering, like, dude, I used to roast chickens for Boston Market, if y'all remember that.
I remember Boston Market
for $5.25 an hour, and I mean, like, if they had a whip in their hand, they would have definitely used it. It was not easy work.
We're all right. So we're going to finish up. Can you just go to the Sounds About White, and you can just randomly pick one of those videos, and we're going to laugh at it, and that's going to be the end of this episode. Because Sounds About White is awesome.
Dude, Sounds About White. Yes. Let's go.
I enjoy this show too much. Sometimes I'm just like, maybe this is
a dope show, man.
It's not a DJ retirement plan. Maybe this is just like the plan. All right. Oh, let me turn. That's way too loud.
Turn this up.
All right. Yeah, touch the screen once. This is always the fun part of whatever this system is with the iPad.
It's iOS. It's gotta be.
She draping herself in a Trump flag.
Do you have permission to record me?
So check out this Karen in an airport that's obviously there to cause problems.
Are you recording? Are you recording me? Are you recording? Do you have permission to record me?
Why is she draping herself in a Trump flag?
Do you have permission to record me?
It's literally happened yesterday.
This is my favorite thing about it, people that you never see this.
Do you have permission to record me?
Well, you don't have permission to smack people.
I don't care.
Instant justice.
If you didn't hear that, the officer came up and said, the woman kept yelling at, you don't have permission to record me. And then they came back, the officer's like, and you don't got permission to slap people. Yo, that is
amazing.
That is our sign. Oh, I forgot about this one. Oh, okay, we can do this one too real quick. Oh, it's 9 minutes long though. All right.
I love that mask. Need one of those. Love seeing Karens get trolled with that mask prank. Never gets old. Our next Karen video is a Kevin matching Karen's energy. Love to see it.
I'm doing my job.
Classic.
Your job is to be a principal. Do we go here?
My job is to get you off the campus. This is a place of business.
No, that's the security's job. You're a principal.
That is my job.
You know what?
Get off the campus!
Quit yelling at me! Get off!
I gotta say, some of the best Karen videos are interactions between
skateboarders are the anti-Karens. They're the only ones.
That is the most accurate thing.
They're the only ones that can do it. They're the only ones that can disarm Karens real fast. They just laugh at them.
It's because white skateboarders, their moms are Karens. So whenever you hear a black comedian that's doing the whole entire like, yo, he back talks his mom at the house like, no, mom, you do the fucking dishes.
They're the only that's a Karen kryptonite right there. Like, fuck, you sound like my son. Like,
but that also, and I can say this because my partner is white. That will be the downfall of black children is that they'll think they'll have the privilege and they won't have it.
Yeah, they won't have it though. Yeah.
It's like having a gun and thinking that you got bullets in it, but forgetting that you left the clip at home.
Yeah.
It's like, what did you say?
Oh, fuck.
Shit,
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
This was so much fun. I can't wait to come back. Maybe next time we can have Ian up in here.
We can have Ian, but since you're here, I'm gonna you're an honorary drip member.
Oh shit! Thank you.
Those are very rare in the world right now. The morning drip pen. So you enjoy that. I love and I appreciate you. It's a little warm for being in my pocket.
No. It makes it that much more special.
It makes it that much more special. All right. Well, this has been another episode of Your Morning Drip. Before we go, can you please tell people where they can find you and all the great stuff?
You can find me on socials at Jong Grillin, and then you can also find Jong Grillin at 46th and Southeast Division, right next to DeMarco's Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am your host, Running Rock. This is your host,
Hanli Hwang.
See how I get? Hey, Ian, you got replaced.
Yo, maybe we should do a different show. Maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe that's the beginning of our Asian black boy band.
All we gotta do is change this background, and that's it. All right. All right. So once again, this is Your Morning Drip. Make sure to follow us on yourmorningdrip.com, on Your Morning Drip on all social media platforms. We are a podcast, but only on YouTube right now because I'm an asshole. But do us a huge favor. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also, like and comment. Tell us what some dope stories that you want to hear us talk about are. And this is what's today's date? It's the
24th.
This is Wednesday, the 24th. Happy Indigenous People Day because fuck Thanksgiving and all the colonizers. We out of here. Peace.
Awesome. Man, thank you.